First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Tim, we started here with that beautiful live shot out over Jack's Beach. So the first graphic I'm going to pull up here today is specifically with regards to the ocean and also for Andy, who pointed it out to me. He wanted me to toss this in. So we're going to start with it. So toss it up there quick, Andy, so we can move on past this. A tropical wave.
There it is. The intertropical convergence zone. And is Andy aware that the National Hurricane Center has put out a shaded area for the Eastern Pacific? The first one for the Eastern Pacific. I would suspect they'll be calling it maybe Alvin in about 6 or 7 days.
Is that the first name for that?
For the East Pacific,
East
yeah.
Pacific.
Yeah, that's why Ross is the leader that he is. Did you hear how he instantly guessed that with A, that might be the first name this year?
Hey.
I mean, he just went right.
Brilliance.
Right. Now, here's it. And I'll get on to everything else y'all want to talk about. This is just the old guy talking. So when I hear Alvin, I hear
Chipmunks.
Oh, okay. So
that's
the
what I
chipmunks
thought too.
Okay,
yeah.
so chipmunks are still part of your lexicon too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
The screaming of Alvin.
Yeah.
That's like...
I mean, Tim, Christmas comes around every year.
Okay, I am.
They made a whole set of movies,
It
probably
does my
when like
heart- it
Lee and
does
I
my
were in high
heart
school
good
or
to know.
middle school.
So you can sort of hear the guy. What was his name? Is it Dave?
Oh, their owner?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are they?
But you can hear him screaming.
Yes.
Alvin. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I feel good.
Is that what you wanted to bring
We have
up?
covered the intertropical convergence zone and all the different sides of Alvin.
And the chipmunks.
That's a great satellite picture, Andy. Thank you. And Ross.
Oh yeah, give all the credit to Andy there. This was not my doing, solely Andy. This now was my doing.
Side. Yeah.
Yes. Yesterday we were focused, Tim, a lot on Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, kind of moving into Missouri and Arkansas. Now that threat has shifted further east and to the northeast. So the west sides of the Chicago kind of metro area, so central Illinois, seeing tornado watches, several tornado warnings in effect there, and then also pretty much the exact same spot we've talked about, for the last 2 or 3 months.
At least, yeah. Just amazing.
Right along the Mississippi River, and actually a few storms even further east of there, out towards Nashville, a couple severe thunderstorm warnings. We did have a tornado warning for Knoxville. I had zoomed on it initially, but looks like that has just moved off to the north of them. This is a live look out at Gatlinburg, I think, or Pigeon Forge, one or the other. I was hoping to try and get a storm shot, but at the very least...
It's a good thing, though. It's such a touristy spot. I'm glad we're not seeing storms right now.
Yeah. Yeah, at the very least, you at least get a nice mountain shot, something we probably don't see a whole lot here on the First Coast.
Look how lush it looks.
But otherwise, we are the top dogs here, Tim.
We're winning.
And Lee, sorry.
Yeah, and we're winning not just east of the Rockies, but right now across the contiguous.
Andy, are you okay back there? There was a big...
He's passing out from the heat. It's too hot. It's just shocking to see. 95 degrees.
And the heat index, I guess we can cover that.
Yeah, I do have that coming up here.
Gotcha.
There we go.
Woo.
101,
Rough.
Jacks.
And I think Mayport, that's with the sea breeze.
It's pinned pretty close to the... Yeah, there's not too many locations that are getting the sea breeze today.
Yeah.
Pretty nice westerly wind. I've seen gusts, anywhere from about 15 to 20. Mm-hmm. I think the Jacksonville International Airport had a gust of about 20, maybe 25, 30 minutes ago or so. So it is hot and humid, but also a little breezy out there. So if you're in the shade...
That helps.
Yeah, we're trying to stay optimistic in here.
I'm guessing, we do a little, because we're freaks here, we do some little micro-analysis, and I'm guessing... that unless there was like a cloud over Cecil, that's why Cecil is not any hotter than the airport today, because of that strong flow out of the Gulf, and that maybe we're getting some. So I didn't even notice. Gainesville's probably not quite as hot as us, right?
They were not. I thought they
Ooh,
were at
this
91,
is how
92.
May has been, huh? Wow.
Yeah, you look.
Rough.
Only 4 days below average, or 4 days that weren't above average, I should say. So 89.2 is your average high. You can see the departure from normal. So over 4 degrees above average puts us in the second spot so far this month.
Wow. And I would say, well, it's going to be interesting because I would say at least through next Tuesday, which is what, the 27th, we'll probably stay above average. And then that front settles on down.
Perhaps some changes after that.
Yeah, but
As of right now, we got a good chance of. Oh, this is me.
Yeah, talking about the heat.
All right. So you may have seen yesterday, and you'll see again today. We talked about it is Heat Awareness Week. And so I've been covering different topics when it comes to heat awareness. And yesterday's topic was heat-related illness. And it's important to know the different signs because with heat stroke, you have to call 911. That's a medical emergency. With heat exhaustion, you need to cool yourself down quickly. So if you're feeling faint or dizzy, that's a sign of heat exhaustion. If someone is having a throbbing headache or you have a throbbing headache, that's a sign of heat stroke. Also, if you stop sweating. So if you're excessively sweating, heat exhaustion. If someone is not sweating anymore, that is a sign of heat stroke. And then your body temperature will be around or above 103 degrees. Your skin will feel red, or it will look red, it will be hot, and it will look dry because you're not sweating anymore. Of course, if you have heat exhaustion, it's a cool, pale, and clammy skin that you'll be dealing with. Stomach issues, nausea, vomiting, that's on both sides. So if you start to feel nauseous in the heat, you know something's going down, something's not right. Now, if you have a rapid, weak pulse, that's heat exhaustion. But if there's a strong pulse, that person is likely experiencing heat stroke. Muscle cramps, that's going to be heat exhaustion. But if someone becomes confused and then they lose consciousness, that is a sign of heat stroke. So as we've talked about already, heat stroke, you have to call 911. If you have heat exhaustion, get to a cool place. It's inside with AC or under shade, under a tree. A cold compress is a good option too. And that person can drink water if they're fully conscious. But it's important that if you are helping someone with heat stroke, after you call 911 and you need to immediately take action to cool them down, do not give them water, guys, especially because they might lose consciousness, and that could be a very dangerous situation. So no fluids for someone experiencing heat stroke. Just call 911 immediately, and I'm sure they would talk you through that too.
So that's really interesting because to me that's kind of counterintuitive. And Lee, check me on this because I'm thinking sometimes if you're the person, you may not be aware other than you're hot. But like I'm thinking if I'm a friend looking at somebody, obviously if they pass out, then you know something's big. But I have seen this with runners that under really hot situations, the rest of us are very hot. I mean, we're sweating and hot. The other person is very hot, but they're not sweating. And I remember that being a clue to, hey, something funky's going on here. So I'm just thinking, if I'm watching a friend, those are probably the two things that would just jump out at you.
Absolutely, the no sweating, and then also if they start acting confused, that could be another sign too.
So Tim, you have seen someone who's experienced this?
Yes. And now in many of those situations, it's been in the Donna where they have medical people. And so it's us just runners noticing, and then the professionals, verify that, yeah, this person is. But yeah, even there, like the whole mental thing. I've seen them do just like they do sometimes in hospitals. What's your birthday? Where were you born? And I've seen people just,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. So. And then as we briefly just showed it, so then the next topic, today's topic, you all get a sneak preview since you're tuning in with us. This is what I'll be talking about tonight at 5:30. But it's going to be hot car statistics. And a really sad statistic is that over 1,000 children, it's actually 1,010 children have died in hot cars over the past 25 years. And guys, last year, bad statistics. So 39 children died in hot cars in 2024. And that's actually up 35% from 2023. So a child's body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than an adult's. And so they're more at risk. As we talk about, it's children, it's the elderly, and it's pregnant women and people with other health issues that are more at risk. So with children right there, their body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than in adults. So when you have a body temperature around 103, 104, that means it's heat stroke. And then death, if we could maybe remove the bottom of the weather watch, it's 107 and higher. That would be a core body temperature. So no, I'm not talking about outside, but your core body temperature reaches 107 degrees. That's when death can occur. So talking about hot cars then, of course, how fast does a car heat up? guys, we have been in the middle 90s for our highs. And so I'm going with 95 degrees. After 10 minutes, a car with the windows rolled up, so the car is sealed. Inside, the car is 114 degrees. And then after 20 minutes, it's 124 degrees. At a half hour, it's 129 degrees inside the car. And then at an hour, it's 133 degrees inside that car. So, Tim, you and I were talking earlier about good tricks to remember to check the back seat, because it's easy to say, check the back seat. Of course, no one means to leave their children or their pet or an elderly parent or grandparent in the car. But what was that tip that you were talking about earlier?
Well, yeah, I've seen tips such as maybe at that, leave your cell phone, wallet, something to where in the busyness and routine of life, you still would go to the back seat. You brought up the purse. Thought that was a great
keys. You can't get into the house to forget
reminder.
about them if you leave your keys with them.
Yeah. Now I'm guessing Georgia and Florida have got to be ranked right up there with as far as like deaths per state.
I'm sure. You know what? I didn't even look at it. I was Heat Awareness Week is a national thing, and so these were national statistics.
Okay, I was going to ask that. Yeah, if they were like just for Florida and Georgia or the First Coast, or if they were everywhere.
They're everywhere
Okay.
nationally, but yes, as you guys can assume, Florida and Georgia are going to be right up there. And it's interesting. It doesn't have to do with like a dry heat versus humidity. We're no different than Arizona. Say the inside of that car still gets to that temperature that rapidly.
Still heats up. Tomorrow's going to be another one of those days too.
Woo.
As was today. Mid-90s tomorrow. Real feels yet again. Up close to that 100-degree mark. We hit 95 so far. I did see one ob say we may have gotten to 96 or 97 at the airport, so I'll have to see if that officially verifies or not.
Now,
But
the record today is what, 99?
I think so.
Today 99.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think yesterday's record may have been 96.
Yeah, we missed it by
and
1
then-
degree.
yes.
And then today's 99, and I think
Sort of hops
tomorrow's
up there.
99.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we're not talking record.
Yeah, so it's just as hot. It's just the records are a little bit hotter.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we do have some changes on the way.
We do.
We have some much-needed rainfall coming in tomorrow afternoon. It's not going to be a lot. Some isolated to scattered storms in the afternoon, early evening hours. And then kind of as you look ahead to the start of next week, we'll kind of see a little bit of a change in the pattern, better chances for some more rain there as well. But really, tomorrow's going to be the day we hone in on. Behind it then on Thursday, drier air comes in, not going to be nearly as dry, so some things to thankfully look forward to. But tomorrow at least, some marginal risk for some severe storm guys. I think we'll at least see maybe 1 or 2 storms with wind gusts pushing closer to 40, maybe 50 miles per hour.
Keep your eyes to the west, folks, right? Pretty much coming from the west and west-northwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the line kind of paints it.
Yeah, I think the Suwannee and perhaps the southern part of the Okefenokee probably have the best chance to maybe see a few of the heavier downpours, some of the stronger storms that develop. And then overall, as the whole kind of line marches off to the southeast, we expect things to fizzle out a little bit, or at least, weaken at a bare minimum there. So there's 5 o'clock tomorrow.
All right,
So I mean, to me the highest I would see would mean maybe 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch if you happen to get a downpour.
If you get one.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, if that times out just perfect, maybe the jumbo shrimp will play ball tomorrow evening.
I do think I have that in here. But yeah.
is it at 7 o'clock tomorrow?
It
7
is.
It is, yeah.
7:05. Mhm.
Yep, 7:05 tonight and tomorrow. Actually, yeah, the whole way through this week it's 7:05, and then I think Saturday and Sunday are both like 6:35 or 6:30 first pitches. But yeah, it looks like a good week to head out to the jumbo shrimp, especially temperature's going to be a little bit cooler by the time first pitch rolls around there.
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow and through the rest of the week. So
You guys know I have made it known here in this newsroom that I'm very excited about tonight's jumbo
Of
shrimp
course.
game. Purr in the park.
Perfect night.
Bring your cat. Seriously, bring your cat to the jumbo shrimp game. Guys, I wasn't going to bring my cat to the game because she would not do well. But
Because of us humans?
she's scared.
Does she like shrimp?
She loves scaredy cat. She loves shrimp.
Right.
Mayport shrimp.
Okay, fresh shrimp.
Fresh Mayport
Okay.
shrimp. When I go to Singleton's or Safe Harbor, got to
Uh-huh.
bring her home some shrimp. But her carrier is padded, and I think it'd be really hot inside that carrier for her. So just something to think about for your cats. I'm going to assume already you take very good care of your cats if you're bringing them to the Jumbo Shrimp game. You got everything you need for them.
But a
maybe add a little fan.
Carrier might be.
Yeah, a little fan, something. Yeah, but make sure there are carriers that you can fold down the flaps. I know you might want to do that to help kind of protect them so they're not so scared, but they need the airflow through there because I can only imagine 90 degrees at first pitch. Of course, inside a carrier, it's probably going to be a little toastier than that.
And I think I heard one of our producers say earlier this afternoon that like the record amount of cats they've had was like around 30. Do you know if that's true?
I thought I heard that like last year it might have been somewhere close to 20,
Okay,
and they're maybe hoping for or expecting 30 this year, which would be awesome. So I can't wait to see pictures.
That's a lot of cats at a baseball game.
That's awesome, you guys. Aren't you excited?
No,
about this?
I'm imagining the pictures of some baseball player trying to herd the cats in center field. So.
Oh my gosh, how cute would that
Yeah,
be?
one gets on the loose, takes off.
You know, you guys could just take the stray cats that we see running around by the weather office, just take them over to the game. Give them a baseball game.
Oh, they can, yes.
I was going to say, I'm sure they get in for free all the time over there anyways.
Oh,
That's a good
you're right.
point.
You're right. The shrimp.
Look at Thursday,
the shrimp.
wind chill on Thursday.
Yeah.
What?
I can't explain it sometimes. Just
That
that
must have
cold
been
air
me.
mass that swings down in.
That looks like something I would do.
Yeah, we will have to look at that. Honestly,
Wishful
I would take it though.
forecasting.
I would take it though. Would you take a 6-degree temperature?
Absolutely not.
Just for the morning?
No.
Just go run for a mile, see how fast you
Yeah.
can do when it's 6 degrees.
First of all, I'm not going to run for a mile.
Okay.
You know I got a bad back.
That's true.
Not going to do
That
that.
wasn't nice of you.
Also think how quickly it would have to warm up throughout the day to get up to like 90 then by the afternoon.
That would be.
You're talking like 10 degrees an hour.
That'd be beyond desert weather. That would be moon weather.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm excited for the jazz festival.
I am too. I can't tell you how many times. We used to have it in October because October is when things were supposed to dry out, and I can't tell you how many times we would just have monsoons for the Jazz Fest. So they moved it, and it's going to be hot, but yeah, at least it's looking pretty good. Maybe things get just a slightest of a chance of a shower Sunday, but overall it looks pretty good. And of course, for those who are new to the area. And you don't want to deal with the weather. The great indoor event is always Thursday night at the Florida Theater, which is the piano competition. But it's going to be down at Talleyrand this year, right? Down around the stadium in Talleyrand.
Yeah. No. Anthony was trying to tell me that he thought they had different stages across the city. Is that how it used to be?
That's how it used to be.
Because last year I think they were over at like Met Park,
yes,
Daly's Place,
and we had some
and then
tour
over at
downtown.
Talleyrand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure everything this weekend is all over at Talleyrand there in the tailgaters
Yeah,
parking.
I think so. I think that's what I've heard from some people down around City Hall.
I'm really hoping that the sound carries over here because you guys know I work weekend evenings. And Trombone Shorty is playing, and I love Trombone Shorty. I got to meet him once. Humble
Really?
brag. Yeah, because so I worked for the NBC station in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we did a morning show there, and he came because I think it was like the Hoda and Jenna show, and he was part of that too. So we're all NBC stations here, but he went out for that show too, or the Today show, and I got to meet him.
Cool.
And I was like, I love your music, and my mom loves your music. So hopefully my mom gets to go and see him now, and I'm going to try to listen from work over here.
Well, maybe they should you should have them do weather live out there for like the evening.
You know what? Maybe Trombone Shorty, if you're listening, you could come do a live set here for the newscast and then head over there.
That'd be
Give us
cool.
some live
Tim,
music.
do you know who Trombone Shorty is?
I don't.
What?
I've heard.
Ross, do you know?
I've heard the name.
No, I don't know, but I wanted to at least
I've
put
heard
Tim
the
on the
name,
spot
but
first.
Trombone Shorty came up to me right now.
Andy, am I allowed to play music, or is there like a...
I don't think you are.
If Trombone Shorty walked up with a trombone, I'd guess that who it is. But otherwise,
the name sounds familiar, but
I'm
maybe
gonna-
that's just because it's a catchy,
I remember
clever name.
when Dizzy Gillespie came here, and I was excited about Dizzy Gillespie. But that was a few generations ago.
I feel like What It Takes is one of his newer, like, more popular songs right now.
I like jazz and blues music, but I couldn't tell you the artist names.
Does Trombone Shorty wear a hat?
He plays a trombone. That's what he's known for.
He's not known for his stylish hat.
Now you
So
got me
I'm
second
obviously
guessing
thinking
everything.
I'm thinking about the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we do say the dew point's the decider.
It is.
And I love how you have the dew points here. Wow, we might get some dew points in the 50s. That would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is overdone a little bit, obviously. This isn't just model data, kind of mapping it out through the weekend and into next week. But I think the key is just the overall trend that you notice there.
Yeah, it is going to drop. And, for those people, there are I do know of families who a tradition is, this is sort of their last weekend in which they camp for the summer, even though it's not technically summer. And so I do know a lot of families will go out to the Swanee on Memorial Weekend. Okay. And although it's going to be warm, some of them will be primitive camping. They'll be in tents. But you get dew. But I could see with dew points here's what I'm trying to say. With dew points in the 50s, if you're camping, this is probably one of the last weekends that you can camp with dew points in the 50s until probably October. Yeah, I would guess.
A nice start to the morning. So look at Saturday morning, 62. Sunday morning, 66. So warm afternoons, but pretty nice, comfortable starts to the days. Your Memorial Day then on Monday, if you're going out to any, graveside ceremonies or anything like that.
And another one right here, right here at the wall. That'll be the big one. But I would suspect any of that thunderstorm activity we're showing 30%, we think will be probably later in the afternoon and evening, right?
I would assume after most of those ceremonies are wrapped up. Most of those typically happen between
I know
8
that the
and
one
10.
at the wall is typically morning,
Yeah.
No, it's something else that, to keep an eye out on. People call it the unofficial start of summer. If people are out on boats and stuff like that, you just want to keep an eye on the radar for later in the day.
Right, and for other boats, that's for sure. And, And, we've already seen some tragedies that once it gets dark, the river can be a dangerous place because of submerged pilings and that kind of stuff. So, it's getting to be that time of year. Oh, wow, we're there, aren't we?
Oh, wow.
I guess the takeaway, though, from the 7-day is, yes, we have one more day of heat. Rain chances, scattered chances tomorrow. Some drier, much less humid-like air for really on Thursday, but also into Friday and the weekend. Minus that 6-degree low on Thursday. So a pretty comfortable holiday weekend here. And then as you shift into next week, the humidity returns, the temperatures start to go up. We're going to see an increased chance of some rain and thunderstorms as well, especially by the middle of next week. So try to enjoy the dry time and somewhat relatively cooler weather this weekend.
Yes. Now I am not going to feel good until I make amends. So now that I see that the 7-day was wrong, that was my fault, and therefore all the other graphics were messed up. So I'm going to own up, folks. That was my fault that you only see 6 degrees on Thursday.
Hey, only a week and a half left.
Yes.
It happens to everyone, but yes.
Yes.
Eyes on the prize.
All right. Take care, folks. Have a good one.